Welcome, executive architects, to this explainer. I'm going to be your tech futurist today, and we've got something incredibly exciting to dive into. We are going to unpack how the theoretical physics of time travel actually provides the ultimate blueprint for building persistent artificial multiverses. Look, we aren't just talking about clunky virtual reality headsets today, all right? We are literally looking at the foundational architecture of existence itself and how you, the engineers of tomorrow, will architect the future of reality. So picture this. Imagine tomorrow, scientists unveil a fully functional working time machine. You step in, travel back 70 years, and accidentally prevent your grandparents from meeting. I know, classic setup, right? Your parents are never born, which means you are never born. But wait, if you never existed, who traveled back in time to erase your grandfather? Obviously, this is the famous grandfather paradox, but for our purposes today, we absolutely aren't viewing this as just some fun sci-fi trope. We need to look at it as a fatal system error, literally a catastrophic logic bug in reality's foundational code. So here is our strategic roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to hit 1. The causality logic bug. 2. Resolving paradoxes in physics. 3. Architecting the artificial multiverse. 4. Simulating scalable alternate timelines. And finally, 5. The ethics of digital immortality. Let's get right into it. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the causality logic bug and understanding reality's sequential execution. Before we even attempt to simulate a universe, we have to deeply understand its baseline operating system. That grandfather paradox we just talked about, it isn't just a brain teaser, it directly attacks causality. And causality is that fundamental rule that causes must always precede effects. You knock a glass off the table, then it shatters. It is the universe's strict sequential execution logic. Without causality acting as this sequential logic, history becomes completely unstable, logic collapses entirely, and scientific prediction, well, that becomes completely impossible. Simply put, if you remove causality, reality unravels. Now, what's truly fascinating here is that Einstein actually proved forward time travel is physically real. Through his theory of relativity, we know for a fact that time can stretch and slow down. We call this time dilation. Astronauts on the ISS actually age slightly slower than we do down here on Earth. Furthermore, space and time are inextricably woven together. If we could somehow stabilize theoretical wormholes, basically cosmic shortcuts through space-time, using exotic matter, one end might experience time totally differently from the other. And that makes the paradox a legitimate threat to space-time architecture. Time travel is no longer just philosophy, folks. It's a very real, physical, engineering problem. Let's walk through how this builds into a recursive crash. Step 1. You travel into the past. Step 2. You prevent your grandparents from meeting. Step 3. Your own existence is erased. And step 4. Boom, an infinite paradox loop is triggered. Erasing your origin point erases the actor who made the change, which then resets the logic loop forever. Physicists realized pretty quickly that nature simply might not allow these kinds of paradoxes to exist. Which perfectly tees up Section 2, resolving paradoxes in physics, or how the universe patches its own logic errors. To avoid these infinite loops in our own software, we absolutely must study how theoretical physics natively patches these fatal contradictions. Early physics paradoxes are exactly what should be shaping our current software engineering logic. This brilliantly illustrates two radically different engineering solutions. On one side, we have the Novikov self-consistency principle. Think of this as immutable state validation. Novikov argued that the universe stubbornly defends itself from your edits. Try to change the past, the gun jams, or you slip and miss, history remains perfectly self-consistent. But on the other side, we have the quantum escape route, the many worlds interpretation. For all you developers out there, this acts exactly like a get branch, though hopefully with way fewer merge conflicts. Every choice creates a new branch. Change the past? You don't overwrite the original timeline, you just spin up a parallel independent reality tree. No contradiction, just a massively growing cosmic tree of possibilities. Moving right along to Section 3, architecting the artificial multiverse. It is time to seriously upgrade the metaverse. As the core architects, you're going to take these quantum patching theories and apply them directly to the infrastructure of the future metaverse. We are moving so incredibly far beyond simple virtual reality gaming right now. We're talking about building an artificial multiverse that can concurrently run millions of different timelines without a single crash. Future metaverses won't just be chat rooms with avatars. They're going to simulate entire complex civilizations. They'll reconstruct historical events with pixel-perfect accuracy, host billions of conscious AI entities, and run wild alternate histories simultaneously. And by layering these simulations, you engineers can provide incredibly isolated, high-fidelity sandbox environments. Think about the applications. Economists can test alternate economic outcomes by simulating entire societies. Scientists can tweak historical variables safely. And for you, the executive architects, this means allowing enterprises to simulate millions of strategic choices in parallel timelines. You are basically building the ultimate predictive engine. You can test alternate business outcomes safely in the digital realm well before executing them in the physical world. It's a total game changer. All right, Section 4, Simulating Scalable Alternate Timelines. Let's talk about the digital grandfather paradox. Let's break down the logic of how scaling this quantum branching perfectly resolves our initial fatal system error when we apply it to virtual environments. Here's a very simple logic breakdown. Step 1. A user enters a perfect simulation of Earth in, say, 1950. Step 2. They alter the core historical code, maybe preventing a major global event. Step 3. The system absolutely does not crash. Instead, directly mirroring that mini-world's interpretation we discussed, the software dynamically spins up a brand new parallel branch. Step 4. Both the original timeline and the newly altered timeline survive completely independently. You haven't broken the past, you've just created a net new digital universe. So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that digital reality completely removes the hardware constraints of space-time, unlike physical reality, which might actually rely on that Novikov principle to stubbornly defend a single timeline. The metaverse allows for literally infinite scaling of possibilities. Your systems are going to easily support thousands of totally contradictory histories simultaneously, and they'll do it without throwing a single logic paradox. Finally, we reach Section 5, the ethics of digital immortality. What happens when we put sentience in the code? Look, building these highly stable, branching virtual worlds introduces some immense moral weight, especially once we start introducing sentient, conscious entities into our simulations. Let's look at this timeline, the life cycle of digital rebirth. Imagine at year 0, we finally have the tech to map every single biological brain neuron, every memory, every tiny personality trait. By year 1, we upload that precise digital copy directly to the metaverse. Now fast forward to year 50, the physical biological body naturally passes away. But look at year 500, the digital self continues to learn, grow, and evolve inside your server architecture, centuries after their biological hardware failed. Humanity literally becomes the very first species to exist simultaneously across physical and digital realities. So as you are building these systems, you are going to have to answer this incredibly profound question. Is that entity living in the code still you, or is it merely a copy? How does digital immortality fundamentally change our entire definition of human consciousness? I mean, if a human mind is perfectly replicated in silicon and continues to genuinely experience reality, philosophers and engineers alike are going to have to decide if that code holds the exact same moral rights as biological life.
And let's be real, we aren't just talking about a handful of beta test subjects here, we are talking about billions of people. When your systems are hosting billions of conscious AI entities and digitized human minds, all living out completely distinct lives across these branching, parallel digital realities, you're no longer just writing software, you are creating life. You are acting as the cosmic architect of an entirely new reality.
It's wild to think that the grandfather paradox started out as a simple question about time travel, but engineering an artificial multiverse to actually solve it, that forces us to confront the deepest mysteries imaginable. We have to question the absolute nature of time itself. We have to test the limits of systemic causality right inside our own software. We have to determine the ultimate destiny of human consciousness as it migrates to the digital realm. And ultimately, we are forced to literally design the architecture of existence itself. Which naturally brings us right to simulation theory. If we right now are on the verge of building these systems, it raises the ultimate question. I want to leave you with this final kind of startling thought. If advanced civilizations have enough computing power to seamlessly simulate entire universes, is it statistically likely that causality itself is already programmed? What if the base reality we currently inhabit is actually just a higher-tier software simulation meticulously built by an executive architect just like you? Let that sink in.